Okay, you there? Okay, so um, we're we need 4,000 square feet of if you're going to build a duplex. So let's just say we have this one lot right here, and um, it is going to be if we take 4,000 square feet and we know it's, let's just say it's 94 feet to the back. Um, we're going to say 4,000 divided by 94 feet equals 42.5 feet this way. So, and I've had probably different opinions from staff before about splitting it. And, I think sometimes they've said, well, if you're splitting it and you have to give up 10 feet of right of way, then, you have to count instead of the 94 feet, you have to count 84 feet. And then sometimes they've said, well, it goes by what you actually have originally. So I'm just going to say 94 for now. You'd have to hash it out with the staff, but in essence, you need about 42 feet here, which, if you're doing a duplex and you have four cars, you might want it to be 40 feet wide because you're going to have, if you have 9 feet per space or 10 feet for a parking space, you're going to need 40 feet here. So let's just say, so you go 42 feet here. You have another 42, that's 84. And you're left with, so 42 plus 42 is 84. And here's the example, we only have 104 feet. So we have to go 84, 94, 104, that's 20. And then we can count this other space as frontage as well. So I think you would have enough room if you did it like that. So if you wanted to do 3 duplexes, and now the side setbacks, it says, are 5 feet. So, and that's typically because well, you need 5. It's helpful if you want windows and things like that on the side. If you have 5 feet, then you get to you can put as many windows as you want as long as you're 5 feet from the property line. So let's say we are at 42 feet, 42 feet wide lot, and you need 5 feet on each side. That means the maximum size of your building is going to be 32 feet. So you can build, if you have 5 foot setback on this side, you can have a 32-foot wide building and then have an additional 5 feet on this side. So now you're at 42 feet there. So that's kind of a how we can just start to look at what the size of your building is going to be. So your footprint, and also if we go back to right here, it says that rear for a single family is only 5 feet. Okay. So that's not a big deal. You're going to have that with your driveway anyway. So that's not a difficult hurdle. So
So you were saying with the 5 feet on the side, that takes away from the 42 feet?
well, let's say if you have a width, the lot width is 42 feet, and you can't build 5 feet on either side. You have to take away 10 feet total of building width. So if you start with 42 and you take away 10, you're left with 32. That's how wide your building can be.
But I thought you said the building had to be 35 feet.
No, the what I was saying is that the minimum width of the lot can't be skinnier than 35 feet wide. So you have to have a minimum. Okay. So even though you can have a lot that's 35 feet wide, you are not, if you do a duplex there, you are not able to do that because you need more more, need more area for your land. However, if we go back and look at, single family, if you do a single family, you need only 3,000 square feet. So we'll say, okay, well, let's do 3,000 square feet. 3,000 square feet divided by 94. That means you only need a lot width of 31.9 or 32 feet. So if you did a single family, you couldn't have a lot width less than 32 feet. However, you could, if you did single family, you could have as little as 32 feet, but you would be required to have a minimum of 35 feet. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what you're looking at. So again, if your lot width is 35 feet, you have to have 5 on each side. So you're looking at a 25-foot wide house as at the maximum. So that's kind of where you're looking. And now if you were going to do a townhouse, attached townhouses, for example, you would only need 2,000 square feet. However, it doesn't give you any benefit, in terms of lot width. You still have the 35 lot width. So
with the townhouse versus the duplex,
mm-hmm.
when you're looking at property and splitting and all that, I'm trying to understand that whole concept with I know you sell townhouses and the property, I'm trying to understand the thing with the property line and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, duplex actually lease those?
Yeah, so a duplex typically, it's 2 units and they're attached, and they require at least a 1-hour firewall in between them.
Right.
And they could be stacked on top of each other, or they could be side by side, or they could be front to back or whatever. But it is typically, it's 1 unit, one piece of property, one land piece of property. A townhouse, it could be 10 or it could be 20 or it could be 2, but let's just say it's a duplex townhouse. It's 2 units and they're side by side and they're split down the middle with a property line. So, and in that case, you would have a 2-hour firewall instead of a 1-hour firewall.
So for city purposes with townhouses, are you, townhouses versus duplexes? Okay, with the duplex, when you look at splitting the lot splitting with a duplex, would it just be split? If say I was gonna do, Nicholas, I can't hear. Would it just be splitting the lot, 2 different ways or 3 different ways, however many buildings you have?
Yeah, so a duplex, so right on here, 2-family, it's one building, is a 2-family building. And it requires 4,000 square feet of area for the land. So
and I guess I'm asking from the city standpoint, when you look at lot splitting with a townhouse, say I have 2 townhouses, 2 buildings, but it's going to be 4 townhouses.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Anyway, with a duplex, I'm sorry, Z, I cannot talk over him. Okay, so with the city, when you're splitting a lot for a duplex or a townhouse, are you splitting it 4 times? If you have two, like on MLK?
Yeah. So if you're wanting to have 4 units, then yeah, you would be splitting it into 4 different lots. Um, so what we did, for example, we have on that project, we had 2 different buildings. We first split it in half, and we had two different buildings. We split it in half. Then after we built it, then we did another lot split for each individual townhouse. So now we had 4 individual lots, and that way, and now that was a different zoning, and so that zoning didn't require a full 35 feet wide of land. That one I think had an 18-foot wide minimum. So our townhouses were 18 feet wide, and they had space on both sides, but that was a different zoning, so we didn't need a full 35 feet wide.
So what kind of zoning is that?
That one's called downtown general.
Oh, okay. Now, my 13th and Washington is what zoning?
That was zoned residential intermediate urban, so we can look at that zoning. Let's see what here. Residential, so we can do single family, 2-family, 3 and 4 family, but we can't do the multifamily, for example, here. You can do it as a conditional use. You can do multifamily if you got a conditional use permit. There's no density requirement, so that's different than the multifamily where they say, okay, well, 24 units per acre. It doesn't matter. The lot width minimum is 18 feet instead of 35 feet. There's no lot area minimum, so it makes it a bit more flexible, and you have the same build to zone. If it's single family, 2-family, it's 5 feet wide, 5 feet. Well, I guess the rear is 12 feet if it's from the center line of an alley. If an alleyway is 20 feet wide, the 10-foot wide, you only have to be 2 feet off the back of the alley. But so you can, for example, this one is different because it allows, you can be more dense. You only have 18-foot wide. It's more geared towards smaller multifamily or small, single family, and as opposed to the RMF 24, which is, more geared towards larger multifamily buildings or complexes. So, you can go through 2, I think up to 5 stories on it. But, and you can do bigger buildings, but this one you can only have 4 family dwellings at maximum. So that's kind of why, they're allowing you to build on smaller lots, but that you can't have big complexes. So, so that's something,
So you're saying it's 18 feet per lot on this one and 35 feet on the
RMF 24.
RMF 24.
Yep. So, yep. So this one allows you to have 18-foot wide. So, if you wanted to do townhouses, for example, and do, let's say do, instead of do 3 duplexes, top and bottom, for example, you want, or whatever, in this case, you wanted to do three sets of 2 townhouses, you could do, you'd have 36 feet. You could do 2 side by side, you need 36 feet, each is 18 feet. Well, each could be, I guess you need 35 feet minimum. Actually, in your case, you'd need 42 feet. No, you wouldn't. You could do, let's just say you have to have a minimum of 18 feet. So 18 feet on one side, if you have 5-foot setback, your building could be 13 feet wide on this side, 13 feet on this side, and then 5 feet and 5 feet. So 13 would be, that would give you 18 feet per lot. So, I mean,
But
13
that's
feet
the
is,
residential intermediate urban, right?
yeah. Now 13 feet, that's pretty narrow.
Narrow.
I mean, I guess people probably, you could do it. I'm sure you could find a way to do it, but if that was something that was, more appealing, where you could sell them all individually, as uh, or even
And
if
you
you didn't
got
want to, even if you didn't want to sell them individually, you wanted to hold on, keep them and rent them out, you could build it differently that way. But
so that would require rezoning.
yep. And so, from a Fayetteville perspective, I think that's probably an easy thing to do, to rezone from RMF 24 to RIU, particularly in that location. If you're looking at if someone else is watching this and they're in a different location, rezoning may be more challenging. I'm not sure, but so.
Yes, I think even in Little Rock, it would be more challenging.
But that's sort of, so you can kind of look at, okay, here's what you can do right now based on it, and what's going to maximize your value, or what do you want to see there, whether it's if you want to sell it or you want to rent it. So that's kind of, or maybe sell some and keep some to rent. Kind of look at the different options there. And then, so I think we have a kind of a good idea of what could be built. If you looked at a couple other zonings, there's downtown general. That's even more flexible than the RIU, although it probably doesn't change much. That what that has is that you can actually have 0 side setbacks, so you could actually build all right next to each other. But then you can't have windows on the outside. So but
You said you can't have windows on the outside.
well, if you're building next to each other, you're not going to have side windows, right?
Oh, okay.
So that may or may
What is
not be an
that
issue.
on Willow, South Willow, over there by your sisters? How's that zoned?
Those are downtown general.
That's what I was wondering.
Mm-hmm. So I think we have at least a good starting point for what you can actually build. So what's allowable.
Right.
And then kind of an idea for the layout of what the layout would look roughly. So we can start with that, and so now start saying, okay, well, if we look at that, we can you can probably split it into 3 duplex lots, maybe 4 single family. I can't remember exactly if we did that, and then, or if we rezoned it, you could potentially do, if you did 3, you could potentially do 6, maybe 6 townhouse lots. I'm not sure. Something like that. So, and then of course there's the existing house too. So, but you could say, okay, well, we want to keep the house that's there, and we still have room for 2 more lots, for example. But I think that, you can kind of at least get a feel for what you can do. And then the next step is to just start plugging in some rough numbers. So, putting together, let's see, I'm going to see if I can share my screen. So we're going to just, do a quick Excel. Let's just say, I'm going to do this quick. So let's say land price, 150, let's just say. So we're going to split, and we're going to split it in 3 ways. This is just a, so equals this divided by that. So this is your lot price, just roughly. And now we're going to build a 2,000 square foot house, single family, let's just say. And it's going to cost us $130 per square foot. I'm not even sure right now if that's close, but let's just say, and so we're going to say this is going to equal this times this. We're looking at 260, and we're going to say, so house cost or build cost, lot cost equals this plus this is our total cost. And then we're going to say, okay, sales price is going to be $200 per foot. Let's say 210 equals this times this, 420,000 what we can sell it for, and we're going to say that sales costs are 10%, equals this times this, and so we're going to say net sale equals this minus this, 378, and then we're going to say cost, or build cost equals this, and we're going to say equals the net sale minus the build cost is our profit. So that's your profit for the house. So that's just kind of a quick calculation. I just put in rough numbers. What we really need to do is figure out, okay, well, what's the market? What does the market want? Who's going to want to be over there? Now for that property, it's right across from the Willow Heights housing project. Is someone going to be paying $420,000 for a house? Maybe
Right.
not. I'm not sure.
Well, that's why that yellow house is right there on the corner of Willow and Rock. It's sold for around 400. I think it's sold a couple of times actually. And this last
I think
time,
well, they built it, and I think that they put it on the market a couple times. I think it maybe sold for 375 or something like that. So so if you did 3 of these next to each other and the markets change, maybe that's and that they also had a basement apartment that they could rent out as well. So that was
okay.
So
how did you get the 420? Because I see your bill cost, and then I see your total cost, but then you said the sales price.
So I said, let's say things are selling for $210 a square foot, and you have a house that's 2,000 square feet.
Oh, okay.
That's what you're looking at. So, let's just say, okay, well, what I think that maybe we're looking at someone who's going to be maybe, let's just do 1,600 square feet, and 135. It's going to cost us a little more per square foot if you're doing something that's smaller, less. You get bigger and you get more air in there. So, so total cost, and let's just say it's $215 a square foot. You're selling it for $344. and then you're making a $43,000 profit on it. Again, these are just very ballpark numbers. I'm just trying to kind of give you a kind of look at, okay, well, this is how I'd make a quick calculation. Then we can say, okay, well, you know, that's, you know, the person, the people that I think are who's gonna buy this. Well, it's probably realistically, my guess, you know, it's going to be someone who doesn't care about being across from the housing project and having a $300,000 home, or you know, whatever
Well,
it
I
is.
sure would care.
Yeah.
I mean, I
So
hate to say that, but I just couldn't even imagine why they built that big house
so
down there.
it's you know, so who's going to be that? So what I've found is, you know, it's typically not going to be a family with younger kids, you know,
Right.
that is, however, it is close to downtown. So, you know, someone who's younger, you know, 20s, 30s, they don't have kids, they're
Mhm.
more, they're, you know, not as concerned about, you know, their safety of their kids. You know, I don't think it's a safety concern over there, but nevertheless, that's just kind of what people are generally thinking. So,
That's
okay,
it.
well,
Yeah,
it's
that's the
going to be,
perception.
it's going to be, you know, more likely, you know, a younger person who they are going to be excited to be close to downtown. They're not going to need that much space. They may not have, you know, $400,000 to spend. You know,
Mhm.
if they did, they might go somewhere else. They might get a condo on Dixon or something. So, you know,
Mhm.
they may want more like, you know, 1,400 square feet,
1,400.
and you know that gets them closer to, you know, $300,000. Um, and you know that those numbers might work better. What did I just do? Something, oh, 14,000.
1,400. 14,000.
Okay. Um, you know, that gets them at 300, about $300,000. You know, you
Let
know,
me
we'd have.
let me ask you.
Mhm.
Let me ask you this. You know, the houses that are coming, that when you turn off a, well, you keep college straight, college straight off of Archibald Yale.
Mhm.
You come off the hill. Those houses, there are two houses that are right there by, what is that, South Street or West Street? You know what? Right there on the corner of College and I guess that's
South
South
Street.
Street, maybe.
Mhm.
Now, one of those houses, it seems like it took a long time to sell. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think that they
What?
sold them a year ago, and they had them pretty high priced, and they were, you know, there were ones around the corner that had a lot better quality and amenities to them, and
Yes.
they were trying to price based on those comps, and I think that they just didn't, they didn't sell well at that price point. However, you know, this spring, I think both of them went back on the market, and they both sold, you know, considerably more than they, and a lot quicker than they did a year ago. So the market, you know, it's definitely shifted
They sold
um,
for more
than they did
did a year
previously.
ago?
I'd have to look and see what they sold for. I mean, they were, you know, they were nice inside for sure,
Right,
but they
right.
didn't have the level of detail as the ones around the corner. Um,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
um,
because I noticed they were on the market again, and then I wondered if it was the pricing that kept them on the market so long. And I was just asking that in comparison to where I would be building. Um, you know, but once again, that would be right across from the projects too.
mhm. So, you know, alternatively, if you built townhouses and you did them, you know, so if you did, I don't know if you can get six offhand. It might be possible, but if you know, if you could get six or four or something, and you know, you could do them small and
Mhm.
get them, you know, at a lower price point, you know, then that's a, you know, a
Mhm.
good market. Alternatively, you know, if you built a duplex, for example, let's just say, you know, you got a $50,000, you did, we would look at we would look at sort of a different numbers. Let's just say we're looking at 1,200 per side. So 2,400 square feet for a duplex.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it costs, we can probably get that down to 125. And again, these are just total guess numbers off the bat. Just, let's just maybe I don't know. Just say 115. We can build them for 115. We're not going to sell them though. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to rent them out. First we're going to rent them out, and then we're going to sell them. So we're going to rent them out, and each unit will rent for, so it's 1,200 square feet. It's a 2-bedroom, and let's say it rents for $1,500 per unit. And this is, and there's 2 units for the duplex. So it rents total rent. And we're going to say, okay, well, we've got vacancy is 5%. And we're going to have operating expenses of 22%. Let's just say 25%, and that can include management and any repairs and whatever. So we're going to left with net rent is going to be equals this minus this minus this. That's our net rent.
Oh.
And so now we've got and I guess we can, or we can call it net operating income. And so now we're going to 12-month net operating income, or annual. So 25,000 for the year. Okay. And so we're going to look at, okay, well, it costs, you can generate 25,000 a year from rent, and equals this divided, this is our total cost. And we're going to get, that means we're getting a 7.7 return on our investment. Let's see.
So you did total cost divided by the annual, or?
I said our annual income, that's our income divided by our total cost. Like this is our total investment. And this
income
is our
divided by total cost.
Yes, your total, like your rate of return.
Okay.
So you're getting a 7.7% return on your money. Okay. In this case, it would be called the cap rate, capitalization rate. But basically your rate of return, if you didn't have a mortgage on it. So that's what you're, someone who builds it and rents it out is going to have a rate of return of 7.5%. Now, if you go to sell it, someone may be looking at they may only need, so this is assuming you have, built with cash. You don't have financing on it. If you get a mortgage, on it,
right.
Let's say you, let's say loan, I'm just going to say 80% of this equals this times.
Are you getting 80% of the build cost?
Well, let's just say it's 100% of, so it's let's just say it's worth more than this now, and I'm just going to get a loan for the whole amount of build costs, and we're going to pay 4% interest. We're going to have a 30-year mortgage, and it's going to be equal I'm going to do 4% per month. Number of periods is 30 times 12 months, and then present value of the loan. And we're going to be paying $1,500 a month in mortgage. And now that's now typically in your mortgage, you also have to pay insurance and taxes. However, that's
Right.
included. That's included right here. So,
Okay.
so but we can include it here. So let's just say we've got now our income is going to be $2,100 a month, and our mortgage is going to be this. So equals this. We're going to net $543 a month in cash flow from this duplex, right? And so, and we're also going to say, this is our cash flow and our annual. That's our annual cash flow. And as of right now, we actually don't have any money invested in it because we have a loan for the full amount. However, if we're, so this might be like if someone were buying the property and they bought it for, let's see, if this is, let's just say they bought it for a higher amount than this. They bought it for, I can't think, I have to calculate it, but let's just say 80%, that equals 80% of the value. So this times 80% equals that, so equals this divided by this. Let's just say they bought it for 407 and they put 20% down. If they so let's say purchase price 407, and then down payment is 80%. Oops, sorry. They put 20% down, and this is the loan. So we're looking at this loan of 325, 600, 326. So essentially, let's just say someone bought it for 407. They put 20% down. They put 80,000 down. They could get a loan for a 4% loan, 30-year fixed. If you were building it, and you, well, sorry, when we build stuff and we have an in-house loan, it may be on a 25-year amortization. So if it's new construction, instead of giving us the full 30-year fixed rate for 30 years on a 30-year amortization, we'll get a 25-year oftentimes, and so we have to pay more. Our mortgage is higher. So,
right.
But let's just say, okay, well, if you're selling it to someone, you sell it for $407,000. They can generate, and they generate $543 a month, or $6,500 a year in cash flow. Well, they've put down $80,000 as a down payment. So let's just say, okay, well, their return is going to be equal to this 6,000 a year divided by the amount that they put in is going to be let's see where they're going to have an 8% return. So that seems like a reasonable rate of return that they're going to get on their investment. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense, I guess. So, and I guess I was going to ask that what is reasonable when you're dealing with investment, especially if you have a mortgage on it?
You know, it's hard to say. I mean, I've asked different people, you know, I've kind of seen what people are buying. You
Uh-huh.
know, it depends on the interest rate, because if people are financing it, they can have a lower rate of expected rate of return. It, you know, depends on the location. I think an
Uh-huh.
8% return is probably a good number. Um, we
Uh-huh.
sold we sold a duplex that had $3,000 in rent for, I think it was 415 a unit,
Uh-huh.
um, and it was 2 years old. So you know, these are
So
just
you would sell that quickly after building. You would sell within a, because someone was saying, well, if you build, then you don't want to, you want to have it for a while for investment
mhm.
property before you
It
sell.
just really depends on what your goals are, and you know, so um, you know,
Mm-hmm.
if so for us, you know, if we hold on to it and it's for a couple of years, then it becomes a long-term capital gain, and
Right.
then we can pay lower tax on it, you know, as opposed to selling it right away. I mean, probably ideally, you know, we would hold on to everything, rent it out, and um, you know, just generate cash flow. But we need cash flow for, you know, for doing new projects. So, you know, that's,
Right.
and for living. So that's just, it just really kind of depends. I mean, you know, in an ideal world, or as we get, you know, bigger, we would be able to, you know, my thought is we could build for ourselves, hold on to everything that we did, and then whatever we did for other clients, you know, that would be income that we would use for our living expenses, and all the rest would just be, you know, for cash flow. But it just kind of depends. Um, so I'm going to go back to here and say, okay, well, if we sold it for um, 407 and you had a 10%, um, it cost you 10% on the sale. Your net sale would be 366,000. It cost you 326,000, and you had a profit of 40,000. So that might be what, you know, kind of a, again, just assuming the rents are what they are and that the building cost is what it is. That might be a you know, kind of what the numbers might look like. Again, you know, we'd really have to, you know, the building cost depends on current prices, and it depends a lot on how you build it, what you do. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can do to add or save costs, and things that you can add to, you know, to bump up the rent, where, you know, maybe you can get higher rent, or maybe, you know, um, just depends. So anyway, that's kind of how I would look at it. And you would just kind of want to have an idea of, okay, well, are you, who's the market that you think is going to be most likely to be in there? You know, is it renters? Is it homeowners?
Mm-hmm.
If depending on whoever it is, who's going to want to, what are they wanting? What kind of space are they wanting? If it's single family, duplex, are they wanting small? Are they wanting large? What's going to
Mm-hmm.
be, who's the target market? And
Right.
you know,
Right.
um, I generally tend to see, well, at least in the areas closer to downtown,
Uh-huh.
where we are anyway. You know, it's different in other places, but where we are, it's you know, in Bentonville, it's people are building, you know, buying $1 million houses. So
Right.
people,
Right.
you know, 3,000, 4,000 square foot houses, you can sell those
Right.
easily. But you know, you can't sell $1 million house. You could, but it's just a lot more risky to do
Right.
that in downtown Fayetteville. So, but
Uh-huh.
there's a lot of
Uh-huh.
people who want to live downtown and doing something. something smaller
Mhm.
is going to be easier to either rent or sell. So
Do you
anyway,
find that the two-bedroom homes have recently been a little bit more attractive than the one-bedroom cottages?
I
I
know.
know
I mean,
there's a market for both.
I haven't we haven't had enough of the one bedrooms. I guess we'll see when we put your one bedroom and two bedroom on the market,
Mm-hmm.
and what
Mm-hmm.
happens there, because it'll be, we'll see. But I mean, my guess is they'll both get scooped up pretty quickly. I
Mm-hmm.
just think there's just not inventory for small stuff really. So uh,
I had a few people inquiring about them. Not that they could have bought them. I don't know if they could have or not, but they were saying, "Oh, I would much rather have two bedroom."
mhm.
So I didn't know if that's just well, I know it's preference, but I don't know if, as far as the market goes, that that's a general preference
Well, I
or
think that, I mean, probably almost everyone would prefer to have two bedrooms than one bedroom, but if they have to pay considerably more for two bedrooms, they might not be able to afford, two
okay,
bedrooms. So, um,
okay,
so I think that
okay.
that's if you're 175 for, or well, actually, for a one bedroom cottage that's
Mhm.
like smaller than the ones that you're doing,
Right,
compared to 250 for a two bedroom, well, a lot of people just
right,
aren't going to be able to pay for 250.
exactly. So,
So
mm, that question left my brain really quick. I don't know. I was going to ask you something about the one bedrooms, but I don't know. I just came and left that quick. Okay. So in relation to, say, that piece of property that's on the corner right there, and I'm just gonna throw it if that was something that you were going to bid on,
mhm.
and I know she said, well, I looked at realtor.com and it says, 150, and I don't know. And when I heard 150, I was thinking, well, maybe if it was in better shape, but you're saying that the land price could essentially be 150 anyway, right?
I mean, I'm just putting that in there, right, as a placeholder,
Yeah, okay.
and so not,
Uh-huh.
I'm just doing some
Not a
numbers that we can
not a
calculate.
definite, but
Yeah,
just
and
to work with
and
the figures.
yeah, so I would want to look, and what we didn't include here is if you demo the house, that's another 10,000 roughly.
Right, right,
You might want to take that off. The building
uh-huh,
cost, because of the slope, it might be that it's going to cost more. You know, Looking at, like, okay, well, what can you actually rent it for?
uh-huh.
Is that, is that a reasonable number, based
Mm-hmm.
on the location? I think that's, I feel like I'm probably pretty close, at least right now. But you know, I think a renter is going to be less particular about their location in terms of, being across from the Willow Heights project, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to care as much. They're going to be, as long as they feel like their place is safe,
Safe.
they're going to be happy to be. They're not making a long-term investment in their property.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to
Mm-hmm.
be, they can walk downtown really easily. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
Right, right,
And
right.
so, is there, the building cost is, I just kind of put that number out there. I don't, these days, I don't even know what we're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then again, if building costs keeps going up, then probably we're going to see sales prices and rents go up as well. So
Right, right.
because it's just going to have to. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I guess it doesn't have to, but they typically would correlate. People are moving here, and
Mm-hmm.
if things are
Mm-hmm.
costing more, then people are going to be requiring more to sell them, so or to
Right,
rent them.
right.
So or they just won't build them if they don't get it. So
Uh-huh.
I think that's a yeah,
And
so
all of your condos, well, the four condos, those you sold those. You didn't rent any of those
the townhouses on MLK.
townhouses.
Yeah, we had planned to keep one of them, so sell,
Uh-huh.
uh, or two of them. We did five, and planned to keep one or two, and that would just kind of, we'd minimize some of our tax expenses,
Uh-huh.
hold on to some of that, but we just got offers on everything like immediately, and over what we were
Uh-huh.
expecting, so just decided to go
Uh,
ahead and sell them. It's a
just sell them.
good strong market right now. So,
Uh-huh.
you know, we can pay off some of our debts, some of the other stuff, and deleverage some of our stuff, so that um, it seems
It
like
just worked out
things.
better that way. And you don't have right now, you don't have one that you're rent like using the Airbnb because that's what Lee bought.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see that as being beneficial though, if
The
you have
Airbnb.
something? Mm-hmm.
Um, the
I know the city's trying to see how they can get in on that now.
my take on that is, if what I've seems like is, if you are going to directly ideal, if you're people are doing it as a business and it seems to be working. However, from our limited experience, we had one, two, three, three places that we Airbnb'd, I think. Um,
Okay.
and they made about the same money if we just rented them out,
Oh,
as if we air. So you do well in certain seasons. My
sporadic
guess,
income.
but then you have to have all the utilities. You have to have cable, and internet,
Yeah,
and then
yeah, that's right.
if we you have to pay for a cleaner, which you can charge
Cleaning
for.
fee, uh-huh, all that.
Um, and
Yeah.
so and then we had a manager for one of them that on the cottage. We probably didn't need to, but it was just kind of like a way to keep it off of our
Right.
plate a little bit.
Off your plate. Uh-huh.
And
Mm-hmm.
so when you add all that up, it was not actually. I guess we actually had another Airbnb as well, so four units at different
Mm-hmm.
times. But what was good was that we had it as, it was like a mother-in-law cottage, where if we had friends or family coming to town, they could stay there, so it made it more flexible.
Right.
um,
Right. Uh-huh.
but I think if you have a really unique property, um,
Mm-hmm.
or potentially if you're downtown, you know, then it can make a lot of sense. Or if you're managing it
Mm-hmm.
yourself, or particularly if it's, if it's your house that it's in your backyard or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, then it's really easy to manage. Then I think it makes a lot of sense.
And and the Rock Street property that I have is pretty, I think it's pretty unique,
Mhm.
but it's, how many hoops do I have to go through to really develop it into something that's going to be kind of unique? Um, because it's still, it's undeveloped. It's got woods, it's got the stream, so there are a lot of possibilities with that if you didn't have all the other issues with the stream side protection and the sewer lines and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Hmm. But then again, I'm not planning on being around to manage it either, and I don't know that I trust anyone here to manage properties for me. So that's why, even when I build again, I don't know that I'll go the duplex route because I'm just not gonna really be here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that you could also think about it as, if you went the duplex route, thinking about it as not as a as a
Short-term investment.
not as a not as you renting it out or whatever, but you know, as selling it. So you could get it leased up and then sell it, for example. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that, you know, there's a lot of people looking at investment property here, so that's
Right.
certainly a
Exactly.
you know, an option. So even if you're not planning to hold on to it for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
it could be that, you know, you could have more units there
Mm-hmm.
doing it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's thought. And I guess my whole other, and I'm not gonna hold you much longer, but I'm just trying to figure out how to do affordable housing. I have not quite figured that out because, Fayetteville to me doesn't have an affordable housing market here.
Mhm.
Um, because with the median income, with the type of residents, they can't afford a $200,000 house, which is probably
Mhm.
on the low end of what they're going at as at this point. So I don't know how you do affordable, especially with building costs going up so much too.
Mhm.
And I know that was the intent for, what is that, Willow Bend or whatever, Willow
Mhm.
Bend. I can't even truly say that's affordable. I don't think it's good quality. Let me be quiet. But anyway, I don't know if it's good quality or not. It doesn't appear to be good quality housing to me, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, I think it's actually is really good quality.
It is
Yeah.
good
Mhm.
quality.
Yeah. I've been in there, and they are
Okay,
they're well
good,
built.
good. So is Pickett, that's who's building?
Yeah, they're the contractors who are doing the first phase of houses anyway.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. But that, to me, that's still not in the true sense of affordability based on
Oh
the income in
yeah,
this area. That's not true affordability.
yeah. I think
Mhm.
that's for sure.
Well, okay. Well, I guess
Okay.
the next thing I need to do is just try and do some negotiating with, both,
Hmm.
and see, is that how you would approach it, to see what they're willing to?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just kind of take a look at those numbers, see what you, I mean, I just put that at number in because that's what they're asking. You know, you may feel like you
Mm-hmm.
want to start considerably lower.
Right.
And I mean, I'd also look at, well, you know, figuring out, okay, well, what you take from your profit from your first project, you know,
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you know, if you are expecting to have some of that to live on, you know, how much you're going to get back, and then,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that you're going to have money to purchase and do plans and whatever you need to do to get the
Mm-hmm.
next project going. So,
Right.
you know,
Right.
if you're, you know, and if you let's say you pay 150 and now you've got to get a loan on that, and you know, you're paying $500 a month for your, you know, lot loan, plus then you have to, you know, pay 5,000 for plans, or 10,000, or, you know,
Right.
lot split, whatever, you know, all the stuff that you need to do next,
Right.
then, you know, are you going to have that money available? So um I would
And I
just,
know realistically I won't have that available. And that's why I don't know, how to go about really trying to negotiate. And I know you said when you're getting started, you would do see if they would agree to a portion of it now, and then once you finish your project, then pay the rest of it too. I know you talked about something like that as well.
well, I think figuring out, we can get a closer feel for what you're going to take home from the 13th Street project,
Right.
and then think,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, you know, whatever you net from that, you know, you need
Mm-hmm.
to have however much you're going to put away for taxes, that you're going to have
Right.
whatever
Right.
you're going to put
Yep.
away
I've been
for,
working on those.
you're going to
I've
have
been trying to work on those figures as
a
much as
certain
I
amount that
can.
you want to take as income, that you're going to need for living expenses, and then whatever you're left over, you can reinvest and think, okay, well,
Mhm.
that's what I
Right.
have to reinvest. And
Mhm.
maybe let's say you have let's just say you have $150,000 and it costs you $150,000. Well, you may say to the bank, okay, well, I'll put down I'm buying it for 150. I'm going to put down $75,000 of cash, and you're going to lend me $75,000 for the project, and that's going to cost me $500 a month. I don't know what, I'm just making up a number here. So you have $75,000 in cash that you haven't spent. You're going to have to spend out of that $75,000 of cash that you have left. You have $500 a month. So it takes you a year to get your plans ready and do
Mhm.
everything. That's going to be $6,000 in interest, and then it's going to
Mhm.
take you
Right.
$10,000 to get your plans done. That's 10,000 plus 6,000 interest,
Uh-huh.
16,000, and then it's going to cost you $10,000 to take the house down. So now you're at $26,000, and
Right.
you still have $50,000 left over to get your project started. And that now you go and get your construction loan. You're good to go. You have enough money. It's not going to be a stress because you have enough cash in reserve to get your project going. But if you're
So you
thinking,
would do the land loan separate than the construction loan.
yeah, unless you have unless you already have the plans and it's all ready, but you won't you won't have that,
Uh-huh.
because you'll have to split the lot. Um,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I guess you could, if it was, if you had everything already, but realistically, it's going to take you 6 months at a
Months.
minimum.
Months.
If you were really fast,
Yeah.
to get everything ready to go. And
Uh-huh.
if the seller was willing to wait for 6 months on it, then I guess you could do it that way. That would be ideal, but not
Mhm.
not often
Mhm. Right.
likely.
So if say for example, I do the 75, just throwing out the figures, and do the 75. Once I get the construction loan, does that 75 become a part of that construction loan?
So yeah, you have, okay, you have a $75,000 loan on the land, and let's just say you are doing you know, you're doing a construction project that's going to cost $300,000, for the building. Um, and then you get a construction loan for, instead of 300, you get it for 375. And that pays off the initial land loan, and plus leaves room
Okay,
for
the
the
building.
construction loan. So the construction
Okay,
draw.
okay,
So,
that's what I was wondering.
um,
Okay. Oh, that's a lot. Okay.
well, I just take it piece by piece. I mean, first, don't
Yeah.
worry about the financing right now. I think just thinking about,
Right.
okay, who's your market? Who do you want to go to? And is it, you know, um, do you want to build, um, rentals? Do you want to build for sale? If you build rentals, it can still be for sale, but it's just that's the
I
type
would
of market.
love to build rental. I would
Uh,
love to build investment.
mhm.
Um, I'm kind of hesitant about investment, like I said, because I don't want anything that's going to really necessarily tie me to Fayetteville. I hate to say that, but that's just kind of,
Well, yeah, I mean,
soon I want to go back home.
don't think of it like that. I mean, the guy who built the 6 or 7 townhouses on Willow Street, the white ones,
Yes. Uh-huh.
he sold all of those to an investor. So I mean, they're all single family, but one investor bought all 7 of those for, each one was $350,000. So someone paid,
I
you know,
noticed that.
$3 million or whatever. So, don't that is not a, you know,
Okay.
that's not people are
That
buying.
shouldn't be one of my
Right.
high things on my list.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, because I think there's a need for the lease
Hmm.
property.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I would love to do something that's going to be leased property,
And I think you
investment
can do it
property.
at a lower cost, because people have lower expectations if they're rent. I mean, you still want to do, good
Right,
quality
right.
materials that are going to last, but you don't need to have, quartz in there. You can have,
I
a
know.
durable granite or I mean, I like granite because it's durable and it's not that,
Right,
but whatever, you can have the basic tile that's going to, you don't
right,
need
right.
$20 a square foot tile. It's all the
Uh-huh.
same thing, just how it looks.
How it looks. Right,
So
right. Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense and kind of gives me more of a focus too, because I've always wanted to do that. So maybe there'll be more of the planning, that I do for that if I get that particular piece of property. So, okay, okay. This has been real helpful. I
great.
mean, did you, I know you recorded it, but I
Mhm.
don't know how to, like, if I wanted to actually go back and process these numbers again.
I'm gonna see. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that yet, but I'm sure that what I'll probably do is put it on YouTube. But I'm not sure
Okay,
yet, and then I can share it with you. But I'm not sure yet
okay,
how to
okay,
do that.
okay.
But
Well, I
that's
know
the plan.
I have tied up enough of your time, and I really appreciate you walking me through this, um, because that kind of helps me know how to probably look at negotiating somewhat,
Hmm.
somewhat. And so, yeah, this has been very, very helpful. Very
Okay,
helpful. Yeah.
great.
All right, Z, I appreciate all your time. Is there anything I need to know about the other end as far as what I saw they did the shower and the floors down there in 205. So,
Let me check back with you on that
okay,
later on.
okay, okay. Well, just let me know if there's anything. Oh, mailboxes. Who does mailboxes?
Yeah, we'll do those. Um,
Okay,
yeah, we'll have to get those picked up.
okay. So we already got that covered. Yep. I was just, trying to think of little things, but just let me know if there's anything that I could do, because I know you're there and Gustavo is where he is, so I can always do other things too.
Okay.
But I did want to ask you one more question. I promise I'm going to let you go. I was wondering why they put hardware on before they did the painting, like door hardware, that kind of stuff,
Oh.
before you paint the door.
Um. mm, yeah, I don't know. Probably just
Okay.
over eager.
Okay. Well, I
You
just
know.
wanted to make sure, because I'm
Yeah.
trying to, I'm trying to follow the process and
Yeah.
understand the process
I think
myself. So,
he was probably just over eager to get, keep things moving along. I know, I told Gustavo a deadline or, timeline, and I think he's trying to, it's like do keep on that timeline and make sure that things are moving forward.
Gustavo told me last week, he said, I'm going to have you ready July 1st. I said, all three of them? He said, all three, July 1st. Okay, that's fine with me. We'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've held you long enough, Z. I really appreciate you working with me on this.
Okay.
All right, it
All
makes a
right,
lot of
Tommy.
sense. Okay, and I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Okay, all
Bye.
right, bye-bye.